I'm going to preview the number 12 Baylor versus number 17 TCU women's basketball game, which will be played February 12th at 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. They have exactly identical overall records, 21-4, but here's the difference. Look at the conference record. Baylor's 10-2. TCU is 9-3. This is obviously huge in terms of Big 12 standings because Baylor right now is all by themselves in first place, while TCU is in a battle for second among West Virginia and Texas Tech. Yeah. And this also has like NCAA tournament seeding potential impact down the line here too. Now, what are some players to keep an eye on for TCU? And I might as well just say TCU did lose their last game to Colorado yesterday, 80-79. Colorado made a layup and got fouled and made a free throw to make it 80-79. And TCU did call a timeout, advance the ball, try to take a three, but missed it by Olivia Miles. That's game right there. Now, Baylor in their last game, they survived against Arizona State, but Arizona State is a team that's fighting for the NCAA tournament lives. It was 67-64. And they're a lot better. Arizona State's a lot better than a year ago. That's clear and evident under new head coach Molly Miller. I'm just going to say that right now. What are some players to keep an eye on for TCU? Obviously, the top player on the list is Olivia Miles. How could it not be? Look at the points per game. She's the Notre Dame transfer. She would have been a top 5 WNBA draft pick a year ago, but she decided, I'm going to go for another year at school and then transfer out of Notre Dame. Yeah, number 5, 5'10" guard. That's a senior. 19.7 points per game. 35.2% on threes on 122 attempts. 85.2% on free throws on 115 attempts. 6.8 rebounds per game. 6.7 assists per game. Yeah, she gets triple doubles sometimes. In terms of like 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Sometimes she does. 3.8 turnovers per game, 1.9 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game. Now I'll put like the outlook on TCU women's basketball in the description below. And there's actually another transfer that's really good on the list, and that's Marta Suarez. And she transferred from, I believe, California. Yep, she was at California for the prior 2 years, and then before that, Tennessee. Just to let y'all know. Number 7, 6'3" forward. That's a senior. 15.9 points per game. 35% on threes on 140 attempts. 88.5% on free throws on 52 attempts. 6.8 rebounds per game. 2.4 assists per game. 3.2 turnovers per game. 1.3 steals per game. 2.7 fouls per game. And she did foul out the last game. That impacted them in their loss. Let's not pretend that it didn't. There's Donovan Hunter. Number 4, 6-foot guard. That's a junior. 12.4 points per game. 37% on threes on 127 attempts. 78.6% on free throws on 28 attempts. 2.9 rebounds per game. 2.5 assists per game. 1.2 turnovers per game. 1.5 steals per game. And 1.4 fouls per game. And there's Clara Silva. And I will say she fouled out too. And she only had 2 points all game against Colorado. Just to keep that in mind. Number 17, 6'7" center. That is a sophomore. And she transferred in from Kentucky. 9.7 points per game. Yeah, she was a double-digit scorer prior to the game. But she's not anymore. 52.5% on free throws on 40 attempts. 7.7 rebounds per game. 1.9 turnovers per game. 0.6 steals per game. 1.8 blocks per game. 2.4 fouls per game. There's Taylor Bigby, number 1, 6'1" guard as a senior. 6.9 points per game, 37.6% on threes on 93 attempts, 18 for 25 on free throws, 2.2 rebounds per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.2 fouls per game. And there's a player that is returning from injury from a year ago with a back, and that's Maddie Shear. I will say, prior to the Colorado game, she did not play in the prior game against Houston, and she missed some games this year with a back injury. But I think she's going to be good to go. But we have to wait and see about the injury status, of course. A number 22, 5'10" guard that is a senior. 5.4 points per game, 38.4% on threes on 73 attempts, 78.6% on free throws on 14 attempts, 3.2 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 1.1 steals per game, 0.9 blocks per game, 2.1 fouls per game. There's Veronica Sheffy, and she is a transfer from San Diego State, though she was at San Diego the prior 2 years. Number 2, 5'9" guard as a senior, 4.4 points per game, 41.7% on threes on 24 attempts, 80.6% on free throws on 31 attempts. Now she only committed one turnover per game so far this year. 1.4 fouls per game. Does Kenny Basham, you probably recognize that name because he was at Arizona State and she was at Oregon prior to Arizona State last year. So that name might ring a bell because Baylor's played against her a few times in the past. Number 0, 6'7" center that is a senior, 3 points per game, 57.7% on free throws on 26 attempts, 3.9 rebounds per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 1.6 blocks per game, 1.9 fouls per game. This Kierra Bielefeld. Bielefeld. I apologize if I butchered that. She's like a freshman from Germany. Number 16. A 6'4" guard. Though she might be classified as a forward some places. I just went with what ESPN said. And obviously TCU listed her as a guard as well. I'm just saying that right now. That's a freshman. 2.9 points per game, 23.5% on threes on 17 attempts, 64.3% on free throws on 14 attempts, 3.2 rebounds per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, and 1.1 fouls per game. Might as well just go over one more guard in case she does play. And that's Talia Parker. She's a transfer from Texas A&M. Number 21, 6'1" guard. That is a sophomore. 2 points per game, 16.7% on threes on 6 attempts, 62.5% on free throws, but that's on 8 attempts, and 0.6 turnovers per game. I'm going to say this right now. I hope there is good officiating for this game, to be honest, because I don't want to have like a referee show to watch. Compare to the Arizona State game. And I know we don't have any control on who's the officials or anything, but I'm going to just might as well call them out because that was a ref show and so many questionable calls. Like Brenda Pantoja, Pantoja. This Brian Garland, that was the other referee, and Iffy Seals. I hope that referee crew does not show up for the TCU game because that was awful officiating. Beyond awful. Again, in the Baylor versus Arizona State game. I get you have to make plays to win sometimes despite the officiating, but it would be nice to have a good officiated game and not questionable at times. No, I know I'm not expecting perfect, but still, whatever you did right last game, you got to bring in this game. Whatever you did wrong last game, you got to correct. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively, from first half, not just from first half to second half, but during the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and beyond that if necessary. Limit your foul trouble while getting them in foul trouble. And that's what has hurt TCU in the past. In some games, yeah, they beat Kansas by 2, but they had a few players foul out of the game. They were lucky to survive that. They were fortunate to survive against West Virginia on the road, too. Let's not forget about that. They obviously lost to Texas Tech, Colorado. They also lost to Utah in overtime. And Utah dominated overtime period. It won by 10. So, yeah. I know there might be questionable officiating at times, but you gotta just be the more mentally tougher team and find plays to win. And you gotta out hustle the other team. Especially for those loose balls, because that sometimes can be the difference in the game. Now, defensively, you got to contain the shooters, contain the slashers, and don't let them live at the free throw line. I mean, it's just telling the truth. You got to limit the points in the paint some. And obviously, Baylor has a really good three-point shooting defense, so that does help some. It's just you got to make sure you don't get them like comfortable on offense. Create some havoc plays. I mean, create turnovers. You got to limit the points on turnovers. Of course, you got to limit the points, like fast break points, if possible. You got to limit the second chance points. And you got to get some defensive boards in this type of game here. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. Now, obviously, offensively, sometimes the best offense comes from your defense. So get as many points out turnovers as you can. You got to get some fast break points. Get some points in paint, whether it's like a straight post up or like a rim run. Because at times, against Arizona State, they had some like rim runners, like rim running that occurred, and they just dumped it off down low and then finished it with a layup. Whether it was Darian Little Page Bugs, Kirsten Johnson, or even Kayla Nelms. You get the whole point, or even Kyle Abraham. You got to get some second chance points in this time. Get some offensive rebounds. Get some second chance points. Got to take good shots. And hopefully we shoot better from three in this game compared to the last game. But if nothing else, you got to make your free throws count because that does make a difference. Look at the Baylor game against Arizona State. 25 for 31 on free throws. Yeah, that's pretty good. You got to make your free throws count. You got to take care of the ball. I mean, because that sometimes could be like the number of turnovers could be the difference in the game. Game 2, you got to be good in those late game situations, both offense and defense as well. So, and Baylor had to come up with a back-to-back defensive possession stops. I mean, Bella Fonovoy did like when they were out of bounds underneath, and Baylor was only up by 3. She tipped it out of bounds, but it was near half court, and they put Kyla on the ball in that situation, and Kyla was on the ball for the last one, like, for Arizona State's offense. And she, like, literally forced Arizona State to throw the ball too long. And it went out of bounds. Nobody touched it. And at that point, Baylor just needed to get the ball in. And that was the game right there. So you get the whole point. And I would expect TCU to be a little bit hungry going into the game. After all, they did lose the last game. And they don't certainly want to have 4 conference losses going into this. I'm just going to say that right now. And obviously, you got to have your bench players step up. Not just your starters. So hopefully, Atilia Scott can step up. Needs to step up in this type of game. Yes, she was inefficient from the field, 4-14. But she made all 7 free throws. And she did make 2 out of 7 on threes. And Jane Van Guybeek needs to step up as well. Not just in terms of like the number of assists, but the point, if she gets open threes, she's got to knock those down. She's got to. And she's even said that. If they're going to give you open looks, you got to take advantage of them. And hopefully Bella Fonovoy has a better shooting game. Yes, I know she went 3 for 4 on free throws, but I know she wants to potentially score more than 5 points. And hopefully Darian Page Bugs has a better game scoring wise. She only had like 6 points, but she had 12 rebounds though. And I'll just say this, like a combination of like Kirsten Johnson, Kyle Abraham, and Kayla Nelms needs to step up in this type of game in terms of like the post play down low. And Kayla Nelms came off the bench and she had 12 points in 15 minutes on 3 for 4 shooting, including 6 for 8 on free throws. And Kyla had to step up as well. She's like around 50% career shooting from the free throw line, but she made 2 critical free throws down the stretch when it was clear as day that Arizona State was deliberately fouling her, even though she doesn't have the ball. Like an intentional foul, but yet they didn't call that. I'm just saying. And Markayla Johnson just needs to do her role, and Eugene Dong hopefully can step up in this type of game as well. And if Inez is going to play, she needs to do her role. And same thing goes for Ella Brown too. So you get this whole point. This is a big game, and for all those returning players from last year's squad, they certainly have to be hungry after last year's 3 close losses against TCU. I mean, the first meeting was really close. Then what could have decided the Big 12 title, they lost on their home floor last year. And then the Big 12 tournament title game, they lost pretty close last year as well. So, yeah. And this TCU team is not as good as last year. It's clear and evident. I mean, after all, they lost to Utah on the road. They lost to Colorado on the road. They even lost to Texas Tech on the road. And yes, I know Baylor lost to Tech in the opening game, but here's the difference. Talia Scott didn't play that much. Less than 3 minutes in chain when you look at the box score. She had like an ankle injury, and now she's healthier. So you get the whole point about this. They got to be hungry from last year. And I know Jana didn't play last year against TCU, but I have to think she is hungry. After all, she saw her teammates not beat them last year for the first time in a long time and got swept 3-0. If Baylor wants to think about a 3 seed for the NCAA tournament down the line, you got to win your home games. This would be one of those. And if you want to win the Big 12 title and not allow TCU to tie up the conference in terms of the standings, you got to win your home games. This is a huge one because you could potentially knock out TCU out of the race because let's be real. They got West Virginia at home. That's great and all, but West Virginia nearly beat them when West Virginia was the home team. And they obviously have to play Iowa State again and then have to play Baylor at the very end of the year. And honestly, if Baylor would win like this game as well as the Texas Tech game and even like the one on the road, if they somehow split with TCU, win this game and then beat Texas Tech and take care of business again, not trying to look ahead, but like a UCF on the road and Arizona at home. Kansas State, yeah, they beat some teams, but they were both those games were at home for Kansas State last week. If Baylor could take care of business against those 3 opponents as well as beat Texas Tech and this one, they have no pressure going into that last game of the regular season. So let's go out there and protect the home court here. Get your home fans involved in while taking their fans out of the game as much as possible. And it is a gold out, so Baylor fans, you got to show up. And they're like $5 tickets and the higher up seats. So there's no excuse to not going to a game. If you can't really physically go, give it to somebody that can go. So let's go out there, get the job done here. And you got to be very motivated. After all, they beat you last year 3 times to none. And this year, you want to rectify that situation. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So we want this course. Like video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithm. Some more people see us, and the video does help as well. Some more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button for the notification bell as well. And I will say this about Texas Tech. They do have to go on the road to Oklahoma State prior to hosting that Baylor game. So it would really be helpful if Texas Tech would lose to Oklahoma State the game prior to knock them out of the race a little bit. But either way, you got to find a way to get revenge against them. But first things first, you got to beat TCU this time at home. And I know Nikki Collins wants this game bad after I heard either in a press conference from last game or the post-game radio that she really wants to get back at TCU after last year. So, yeah, she is very motivated. So that's not to question that at all. So let's go out there, protect home court here.